Earlier we created our project to have an ammo count variable, and you can see that here in the object inspector. And when I press the spacebar on the keyboard, I fire my weapon and the ammo count reduces. So I can set the ammo count back to 10 and press spacebar and it reduces again. But one problem that we noticed is that we can continue to fire ammo and the ammo count can drop below the value of 0 and enter negative figures. What we actually want to do is to perform a check to ensure that the ammo count is above 0. We want to say if the ammo count is above 0, then allow the player to carry on firing the weapon. But if the ammo count is 0 or below, then the weapon must stop firing. We cannot allow them to fire any more shots. Essentially, we want to ask the question, is the ammo count greater than 0? And notice that the answer to that question can be either yes or no, true or false, 1 or 0. This kind of yes, no, true, false answer is known as a Boolean, and we can use conditional statements to handle that. Conditional statements allow us to ask these questions about variables and their values, and we can branch our code into different directions depending on the answer. One branch for yes and another branch for no. So let's jump over to MonoDevelop and see how we can implement a conditional statement to limit or prevent the player from going into negative figures when firing the weapon. So I'm back here in MonoDevelop and we're looking at the player controls script. Now you may remember from previous videos that the instantiate line here is where the weapon is actually fired, and beneath that we have the ammo reduction line, which is where the ammo is reduced by 1 on each shot. Now these lines are, as usual in most script files, are read from top to bottom, meaning that the weapon is fired first and then the ammo is reduced afterwards. So before we actually fire the weapon, we want to perform a check to ensure that we have enough ammo to fire. And we can perform this check using a conditional statement, and the most famous conditional statement in any programming language is the if statement. So I'm going to create an if statement here above the instantiate line, and I'm going to check the ammo count. So I can write an if statement by typing if, and then I want to check the value of the ammo variable here. So I want to say if the ammo variable is greater than 0, if our ammunition is greater than 0, then we want to allow the player to fire the weapon and for their ammo to reduce. So I'm going to create a bracket symbol, an open bracket symbol, and then a close bracket symbol. I'm going to select the lines between the opening and closing bracket symbol and press the Tab key on the keyboard to indent the selection. This indicates that these three lines, excluding the comment because this is just for our reference, these two lines really between the opening and closing brace are executed or will run when this condition is met. So if the ammo count is greater than 0, the fire is permitted. The weapon is fired and the ammo is reduced. So I'm going to press Ctrl S on the keyboard to save those code changes and minimize MonoDevelop. The code is now compiled. You can see that nothing really changes in the object inspector. But if I press play on the toolbar and I begin to fire my weapon, the ammo reduces, but it then stops at 0. Once we reach 0, we cannot fire anymore. I can increase the count back to 10 and suddenly we can fire the ammunition again, but once it reaches 0, we can no longer continue firing ammunition. So I'm going to press stop on the toolbar there and return back to MonoDevelop. So we have this condition where if the ammo is greater than 0, we allow the firing. But what happens if the ammo is not greater than 0? What happens if we run out of ammo? Well, then we can do something else. We can add to this if statement. We can say else, which means otherwise, and open and closing bracket, and I'm going to print a command to the console. I'm going to say debug.log, and I'm going to print the string out of ammo, like so, and press Ctrl S to save. So now we've extended the if statement. We've said if the ammo is greater than 0, allow the gun to be fired, otherwise or else, then print this message to the console. Now let's press Ctrl S on the keyboard, minimize mono develop, return to Unity here, press play on the toolbar, and start to fire the weapon. Straight away you can see it's reducing. Let's just switch to the console and continue firing. It's reduced to 1, now it's reduced to 0, but I press fire again, and this time it tells me, oh no, you're out of ammo. So that really is how we can go about using if statements to control the flow of execution in our program.